Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta BS Podcast. Thank you so much for the continued support. Please make sure you're liking the video. If you're not subscribed yet, then subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on new videos and whatnot. And leave a comment, say hi, say who you are, like where you went, or like what you thought of the video. I really appreciate the feedback. And let's see. I also wanted to say that I'm going to be doing like a new segment on this channel. In addition to the interviews with survivors, I'm going to be starting a new segment. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm going to be starting a new segment that's going to be more about like my life and my addiction struggles and like what I dealt with and when I was in my addiction and the problems I still have from the time that I used drugs and just my experience with the hard drugs and whatnot. And so maybe invite people on, because I had already talked about this previously a little bit, maybe having people on in addition to the survivors of the boarding schools that have also dealt with substance abuse and are in recovery, or maybe even still in their addiction, as long as they're not glorifying or anything like that. So yeah, I just wanted to announce that, and so thank you for all of your support, continued support, and then I want to do a moment of silence for the person still suffering. Excuse me, the person still suffering with addiction, with thoughts, anything like that. So on the count of three, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and with that being done, thank you for that. I'd like to introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you prefer to go by for the viewers and where you went and what years.
Hey guys. Well, I'm Sarah Lacrosse. A lot of people actually know me as Sunshine, which is also what I go off of Facebook as Sunshine Lacrosse. I actually went to do 2 different programs. My story is a little different on how I got there. Everybody's, got different ways that they actually showed up, but my parents actually dropped me off, drove me all the way across country without really giving me any idea of what was going on. Let's just say I have really good intuition, and I just knew something wasn't adding up. And some people don't really know that I actually asked to just send me anywhere, put me anywhere. And that's exactly what they did. They drove me all the way from Michigan to Montana and dropped me off at like 6 years old. So I went to Spring Creek for a little bit. But yeah, I prefer Sunshine. It's actually what a lot of my brothers and sisters called me back at Spring Creek. So it just stuck with me. So,
My parents actually tricked me into going too. So my parents drove me up there too. So mine was a little different too.
Well, I mean, we were trying to do a family trip to go see Harley Davidson somewhere in California. And I'm like, I know when you're lying. Like, kids aren't stupid. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I've seen children are honest. I mean, children are more in tune with their intuition. And when I say children, I mean like of all ages up until you're like 20. That's like the beginning of our lives,
It's because they don't got all that other shit in their mind to worry about that comes later in life.
Yeah, the kids, I knew when my parents were lying to me. I knew when my mom was lying because it's like, I mean, you're taught to lie. You're taught to be hateful. You're taught to be, loving or caring, like you learn these things by your examples. And, we're not dumb. We're not dumb. And I think that's one thing that I really appreciate about this is, not only are we standing up for ourselves and others that went through this or probably still are, but we're like starting to shout out, like, listen to your kids, listen to what these kids are saying, and no matter their age, there's something that's got to be heard with whatever's being said.
Yeah.
Now, even if a kid lies, why are they lying?
Yeah.
Just lie for no reason, just to play games, you know? I feel like this is a real big eye opener. Like the podcast, the Facebook groups, the support is really showing that like we need to start listening to our youth, because it's not the youth that's lying. It's not the youth that's treating others with disgust. This is the only word I can come up with right now. Is like they're I'll admit I didn't know a lot of this stuff that was going on until, I don't know, like a few years ago. I want to say about 5+ years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I started realizing like this is way bigger than what I thought. Like I was stuck in my own little bubble and my own fears and all my own PTSD. I had no clue even when I was in these programs, except for TB. Tranquility Bay was like the taste of like what was really behind closed doors. So, like I said, my story may be a little different, but this is what it's for, is to start saying, you know, like we gotta start listening to what's being said by your own children. On top of that, like it amazes me how many parents dismiss their own children.
You just got me like hella bad, Lilith. She got me hella bad.
I saw that. That was
Yeah, that was like in the skin type shit.
cool.
That was crazy. Damn, Lilith. Damn.
Pretty
All right,
sad.
I'm giving you attention, but okay, back to the back to the interview. That's I'm interested to hear your story because you said it's different. So
Yeah. So I never got into drugs. I was very sheltered. My mom and I, it was a huge battle. Since I can remember, it was just a huge battle between the two of us, and I never understood why for like the longest time. But I was taught to be seen and not heard. Children, you don't believe kids.
yeah.
You know, what was a real, I mean, I'm trying not to swear too much, but what was like a mind fuck was when, your mom says, I will always protect my children. I will always do whatever I can to stand up for my kids. And when the time comes, or when it came, it's like, where is that? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where's the stand up that, you'll always be there for your children, or my children are my world, and you don't do anything when the time comes, So the main struggle was I wasn't believed by anyone. Anybody who did believe me, they didn't do anything. They kept quiet. Everything was about being quiet about it. Sweep it underneath the rug. Everything was my fault. Just trying to like sum this up a little bit. I did start going to counseling by the time I was 14. Had a counselor tell me that I was out of her profession.
Like out of her league, like she didn't know what to do with you type of thing.
Like, I think this is beyond my expertise, and you need to see someone else who's more qualified for the things that your child is going through. Like, right in front of me, man, right in front of me. I'm like, I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
But when I got older, I realized that maybe that was her way of saying like she didn't want to get involved, what she realized what was going on.
Yeah.
And people didn't. My mom was really good at like getting away with shit. That's basically all I can come up with right now, is like she got away with everything, and so I got more and more quiet. By the time I was 16, I had enough, and I tried to leave, tried to run away. The only thing that at the time that I ever done was like drinking, like once or twice. 16, like I was too scared to do anything, to be honest. Like I didn't know what would happen. My mom did scare me a little, with some of
Was your mom addicted to drugs?
I never really done anything other
No,
than
no. I was asking, were your parents addicted?
no, my dad was, hardworking. He worked a lot. My dad was gone a lot. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. The only time that she got a job was to help pay for a bike. He
Okay.
wanted. So, I mean, I think in my mom's past, she used to do some stuff, but I don't think it was like extreme or anything that would be considered addictive.
Yeah.
So she was like kind of like a normal teen. I tried a couple of things, I tried a couple of times of drinking, but like I said, I was just scared senseless to like even do any of that. So it wasn't any of that. It was me trying to run away, me trying to get away. Like I snuck out of the house just to go sit in the woods and just have peace, you know? But by the time I was 16, I was just like, I couldn't do it anymore. Like my mom blamed me for everything. I was like, I felt myself like losing it. Like I couldn't. Like your own mom shouldn't dismiss you when you need her.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if I can't trust my mom or my dad, I'd rather go anywhere else. I don't even care where it was. I said, you can send me to boot camp. I sat there and I told my dad I did not want to live in this house. As if you don't put me somewhere, I will leave. Like I'm going to leave one way or another. And he asked why, and I pointed at her and I said, I don't want to do it anymore. You don't listen to me because that's your wife. So you believe your wife over your own child. So send me somewhere else. Let me be someone else's problem. And they sent me to my grandma's for a month, and then they drove me across country to Montana. I woke up to a lady opening my door, introducing herself. Her name was Natalie. And then another
This was
Mike.
when you were still at home or when you were in the program?
This is them dropping me off at the program.
Okay. Okay.
This is what led to that. And like they drove me across all the way to Montana. I mean, to me, it was exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted. I just wanted to get away. Like I couldn't do it anymore. The mentality, I felt myself mentally just getting worse, and nobody listened to me. Nobody stood up for me. So, I mean, in a sense, I feel like them doing that, exactly what I wanted, was better for me. I had a chance. When I got into the program, like literally I got there in the middle of the night. Um, even some of the staff were like, why the hell is this kid here? Like I wasn't getting in trouble with the law, I mean, I was obviously, like I said, I was sheltered. I wasn't getting in trouble a lot. I mean, I didn't do perfect in school. I didn't do all that great. But they just knew that I had problems with my mom. My mom was crazy. She was flat out crazy.
Wait, was she just not all there mentally? I'm just trying to feel like.
See, it's complicated because like then I didn't know. Like I just felt like my mom hated me. Like the second she looked at me, she would just, you can feel people's energy.
Yeah.
I just felt like she did not love me. There was no love there.
Like just really cold and like off-putting.
Like I felt nothing. Like
Okay.
I wanted my mom's love. I was reaching for love, and it's like I'm feeling a wall.
So she was like unaffectionate and like wasn't like there for you essentially, and didn't
My
listen to
mom
you.
really rejected a hug from me and then turned around and hugged my sister.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, people don't
like
understand that the neglect can be like just as fucking damaging as fucking like actual abuse. Like,
yes,
it can be
yes.
it can be even more so. So
it was, I mean, when I got older and I started like understanding her past also, I got it and I understood it, but I still don't accept it, obviously. Like, that's not okay.
it doesn't excuse it.
No, not at
It's
all.
not an excuse
No.
for her actions.
But we're talking like generations of toxic motherly ways. Like generations.
Like you understand why she was that way, but you don't forgive her for doing that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because it's a choice.
Yeah.
She chose to treat me and my only other sibling different. Like, I have 2 children, 2 different fathers, and I look at them with the utmost love. Like, they're my babies. They came into my life right when I needed them.
Yeah.
And there's not a day I will ever let them doubt how much I love them. Like, I tell them every chance I get. I'll just be looking at my kids and be like, I love you. You're so awesome. You're amazing. I love you. And then I give them a hug and a kiss and let them do whatever they're doing, playing with the toys or watching their movie.
Yeah.
But I will never make the mistake, like, that it's a toxic thing that's like not just with me or my family, but like way too many families are like passing down these toxic ways to be a parent. Like, your kid just wants to be loved.
Yeah.
And listened to and just wanted. Like, I didn't feel wanted, not by either one of them. And it tears a person up inside. But I chose to not continue that, and I chose to, anybody that meets me or has met me knows I'm a very caring person. Like, I will care about you just because you're a human.
Yeah.
You're a human being next to me, and I know you now. Like, I'm gonna care if something happens to you. I'm gonna care if you had a bad day. Like,
Yeah.
complete strangers tell me their life story, and I listen.
Yeah. I'm an empath, so I already know. I walk into a room and huge crowds are even too much for me because I feel everything, and I'm like, I can't deal with this right now.
And I have to like count.
Everybody's
I make myself like count to 3 and breathe in real deep and breathe out, and just like, you got this. Like, you can do this. A few more minutes. You can get through the store.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
grocery shopping is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mostly like, just, I had a bad mom who had a bad mom, and I refuse to be a bad mom. I don't think I'm perfect. I definitely make mistakes, dude. I'll admit that. Like, I'm not perfect, but you can't tell me that you meet my kids and ever think that they aren't loved properly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love kids. I love kids in general. That's why I do take pride in my name. I do go by Sunshine, but it wasn't until later on I took pride in my actual name, Sarah, with an H. Means mother of many nations, and I took that on. I took that challenge on. So I'm trying to make a difference.
Sure, that's always good. So your parents. Thank you for that the backstory. It will help people understand a lot more about your story later on. So when your parents, you just had enough, and you said, "Take me anywhere," right? And they're taking you to Spring Creek, and you get there. And so what happens when you get there? What do you remember about when you got there? Like, do you remember them going over? Or first of all, what years were you there?
Okay, so I was there from, oh gosh, hold on, I'm forgetting my age right now. I can't believe it was this long ago. Okay, I was 16, 2004 to 2000. I want to say it was like July, May, June, July. I think it was in May, June until 2004.
Okay, so quite a bit, like 2 or 3 years before I was there. So even more curious. When you got there, did they go over a rule manual with you? Did they hand you anything that they told you the rules on it? Did they buddy you up with anybody? Do you like what did they do when you got there?
I got there in the middle of the night, like I said, and I went actually into the staff central, and I talked to I don't know if you remember Mike, Big Mike. Talked to him, and he was like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing here?" He's like, I don't understand what's going on. And so I gave him a quick rundown. I was like, we don't get along. I don't want to be living with him, so here I am. And they do the 30 minutes. They're like, you can have 30 minutes to say your goodbyes or whatever. And I'm like, I had hours of a road trip with them. I don't need 30 minutes, but I had a dog, my princess. So I spent literally my last 30 minutes with them, hugging and kissing my dog. And I'm glad I did, because she actually ended up passing away while I was in the program. So so I spent my last 30 minutes, and my mom's trying to, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't buy it. Like, I'm not crying because you're leaving me. I'm crying because I'm leaving my dog. like sorry, let's be honest here. Like, I cared more about my dog. So they basically like gave me some stuff. We went into took me to the Integrity family, and I woke up already buddied up with somebody. They kind of gave me like somewhat of idea what the hell was going on. Like, nobody told me anything. Like, I still have no fucking clue where I am. I don't know where I am. I just know I'm in the middle of the fucking woods with all these cabins and people my age and stuffed in a cabin, and I'm just like, hey, how's it going, guys? Like, I don't know at all what's going on. And literally, like, we start going to breakfast, we line up, do the whole thing. And they're like, hey, you're supposed to go join that line. It's for people for orientation. So, you get an idea what's going on. Like, literally the next day that I get there, I'm getting thrown in orientation into a seminar. And I'm like, what's going on? Can somebody please tell me what's going on?
Wait a minute.
Like,
So the second day you were there, they threw you into the seminar?
no, the first day one.
Oh wow. Okay.
Thrown into seminar. I'm like, ooh, what? I don't remember what family mom we had or who it was that told me. Like, everybody was literally like, go in that line, go to orientation. They were making an announcement, like, anybody who's been here for like under 6 months or something like that. Then I went straight to orientation and kind of got like the rundown of where I was, what was going on. And I'm just like, so is this like a nice boot camp? Like, I had no idea still, like, what this place was.
What?
I just rode with it because it's like, I'm not with my mom. That was a bonus for me. I was not where I was miserable. So the beginning was just like blurry because it was a long shock of like trying to figure things out for myself. Like, my parents really just dropped me the fuck off in the middle of the night, and good luck.
Okay.
Pretty much that way said. That way.
What were you thinking after orientation? Because I can't imagine doing that the first day. Like, were you like, what the actual fuck did I just witness? Or were you kind of just like, I don't know? Because
see, that's where I'm kind of straddling the fence on like what the program could have been, what it should have been about versus what it really was. And I was so sheltered that I felt like I saw like what it was supposed to be and not really what it was. Because if you go through therapy and counseling now, like as I do now, some of the things that you're taught in these seminars are like just processes of dealing with things. But I don't think they knew what the fuck they were doing. I don't think they knew what the fuck they were doing. I think there's
Also,
just a.
we weren't willing participants either.
What's that?
Also, we weren't willing participants either. That's like the biggest part of it. You know what I
That
mean?
screws it
It's
up is because they didn't allow us to be like, I could heal. You know what I mean? Like it's we could have healed with some of the tools that they had, but instead it was a power trip. And I saw it with some people, you know, I saw it with some. But you know, I took what I could, like things that I knew could help for myself. I took it, and the rest of the shit I just kind of fucking ignored it. You know,
yeah,
I that's how I was that's how my brain works.
yeah.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure I have ADHD undiagnosed, but I just feel like if I didn't feel like in my gut that it was a good thing or a necessary, I just completely blocked it out. And there was things that actually I've used to help other people that I've used from not the program, but the seminar part. You know, it's supposed to be a self-help seminar, but it's really like, to me, it was manipulated into making you think that you're just the problem. Like you're just a problem. That's how I felt with some of those people. Not everybody, but some of those people just didn't belong standing in front of us.
yeah, for sure. What things did you find helpful, the most helpful from the seminars? Like what are some of those things?
Okay, so I'll do a little story. There was this girl. I don't want to say like too many names because I'm not in touch with her anymore. But there was a girl in my family who actually looked up the program herself, and she was thinking like, could be a good place. You know, she lost her mom at a young age. She was going through a lot, and she saw herself going through down a really bad path. So she found the program and asked her aunt to send her.
So in
So
a way she's choosing to go
yes,
in
but
that.
the impression, you know, how we all talked about the, you know, advertising or how they make it look
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's misrepresented, yeah.
for our kids, like this is gonna change everything because there's no way that you're the problem at all. The parents, the problem. Anyways, so she was struggling. Like the anniversary of her mom came up and she was really struggling with it. Like, you know, we did the family groups where we sat amongst each other and talked and shared and all that stuff. I think that was beneficial, and I think that's what kept us unified and standing for each other. You know, like I had some nice sisters. I had some good sisters in my family. I really did. Some of them helped me a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And some of them said that I helped them, so I'm glad I was able to do something for them. So she was sharing about it, and she was really like kind of down on herself. You know, she was really hard on herself, and I'm like, man, like I don't see how she should be so hard on herself. But there is a process, and I don't remember which seminar this was in. Maybe Discovery, I don't know. Um, But there's a part where you close your eyes and they help you just like imagine you being in a quiet room and all this stuff. And, you know, imagine this or imagine that. And then imagine like you destroying it or it just disappears and, you know, your problems are all solved or whatever. I don't know. It was just like a
Was
silly.
it the lifeboat? Was it the lifeboat process?
I I really
Was it the one we had to choose like who lives and who dies? Was that the one like a guy?
I think this was like involving the towel. You remember the towel? Like you start like imagining like the bad things, and then you start beating the crap out of it.
Oh yeah, the release process. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they had it where like I was like, okay, you know, you could actually. It's kind of like meditation if you use it differently.
Yeah.
Um, so with her mom being gone, I'm like, well, she can't talk to her mom, so let me help her imagine that she's talking to her mom. So I had her start with closing her eyes. And of course, you know, you pick who gives you feedback, and obviously she picked, I saved myself for last. I had her close her eyes, and I'm like, just pretend you're in a room, you know, a nice quiet room, you know, good vibes. And I was like, do you remember, you know, what your mom looked like? Just think about what your mom looked like, and just really picture the last time you saw her. Imagine her smiling at you right now, you know, like she's super happy to see you. And I was like, just imagine your mom's there. And I was like, imagine your mom is knowing that you chose to help yourself. I mean, how many teens are like, you know what, I need help, let me find it, and actually like seek their own help like that. I was like, you should be proud of yourself. And I was like, look at your mom, she's proud of you. Like, she's smiling so big, she's proud of you, she loves you, she's been watching over you this whole time, seeing everything that you're doing, and she's pretty proud of you. You know, you should be proud of yourself. You should recognize what you're doing for yourself. And like, of course, she gets all emotional, and like everybody gets all emotional. I had one of my other sisters kind of scoot in front of her. Mind you, her eyes are still closed, so she doesn't see this other person getting in front of her. And I was like, okay, well, do me a favor. I was like, you reach out for your mom. I was like, I know you want to hug her. I was like, just reach out for your mom. And I was like, and she was just like crying. And I was like, no, seriously, reach out. Like, I tapped her arm, and I was like, reach out for your mom. And she reached out, and the other sister like hugged her, and like, of course, it was a big old emotional thing, and she like, they cried together and all that stuff. Everybody was crying. And you know, you can use these processes to help people like heal, or like, you know, release whatever it is that they need to release. And that's what I did, is I took those tools from what we learned in seminars, and I used it differently. I kind of like tweaked it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in the seminar, it's more of attack and break you down and build you into what they want you to be. What you're doing is more of just like self-target, like specific, targeted, like just like that have to do with the thought itself.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see that it's a rendition on the processes. It's just a different way of doing them. Okay.
Right, right. That's what I try to do is I mean, anything that I've gotten involved with, you know, I try to see the good, what good can come of it, and then use that. You know, if I see if something was like, I didn't even do the towel process. I never once picked up that towel. I did not beat that floor, and I refused the whole time because it didn't feel right. It's not me, and I refused to do it. And I
Did they
told them,
let you? Did they push you through the seminar still?
made me graduate discovery. So orientation, easy peasy, right? Anybody got through that. Actually, they made me wait. So I had to go through 2 orientations. Um, and then I went to a discovery, and then I chose out. And then I think by like the 3rd time, they forced me. They're like, yeah, we see what you're doing. You're not gonna get away with like not going to PC1. And I'm like, I mean, now that you mention it, yeah, I don't want to do PC1, but like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this.
So you
So
never once beat the floor at all through any seminar?
nope, I refused to, because that's not how I deal with it. That's not how
Yeah.
I deal with it. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that some people don't need to like maybe pretend that they're beating something away, or I'm a fire person. I will write a letter, write something out, just like a spell, and burn that bitch. I'll
Yeah.
throw a campfire, you know, I'll vent different ways, but being aggressive is not going to be one of them.
Yeah. I'm just surprised they didn't. I'm just surprised they didn't throw you like into intervention for refusal or anything or something like that. For
Yeah,
did
but I never, I don't know what it is, but nobody really messes with me. I don't, like, I'd be like, no. I flipped out on one of my sisters one time, and I did go to intervention. So or OP or whatever they called it.
yeah.
And I got put there, and it was actually a girl who graduated, was the staff member who picked me up to take me over there. And she was like, what the fuck happened? And I told her what happened. I was like, my sister was driving me crazy. She was annoying me. So I flipped out on her. It was nothing major, you know, now that I think about it, we were just being annoying to each other. And I mean, I guess because of who it was. And I just wanted it to get out. And I just walked there. Like I didn't throw, you know, any tantrum after that. I was just like, you know, just get me the fuck out of this cabin. And once I got out of the cabin and I got fresh air, I was like, okay, I'm good. But I still had to go. And I was just like, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
I'm just a happy person. I was just like, whatever. Because that's how I was with my mom. I was just like, whatever, I'll take it.
So,
Like, whatever.
so you were 16 when you got there?
16 to 17, yeah,
Okay.
I was.
Okay.
I guess me being as quiet as I was and distant as I was in my own healing. Like, I didn't see any of this stuff happening, and I wasn't even aware of a lot of stuff happening. Um, I don't know. I just never noticed it until I started listening to other sisters from, you know, their experiences and stuff, and other programs that I didn't even know existed. Like, my eyes weren't really open until like later on. I was just kind of stuck in my own little like, well, I'm not where I don't want to be, you know? Anything was better than being at home. So I think I was caught up with a lot of that, and nobody messed with me. I don't know how I got away with me saying no to a lot of things. When I was doing counseling, there was a lady, Miss Carolyn. She's unfortunately passed. Um, she was my first counselor, and I liked her. She stood up for me. And I was like, huh, the first person ever to stand up for me. And she confronted my parents. And you know what they did? They banned me from being able to see her anymore. Of course, why not? Take away the one person that believes me, you know, the one person that listened to me. So I got even quieter, you know, more distant. And I just played my part as like, whenever I was needed and I knew it by one of my sisters, that's when I played my part. I'm a healing empath, and I don't know, like I guess I was lucky with the group of girls that I had. I don't know how else to put it other than like I had a good group with me to keep me strong, and we kept each other strong, you know.
Did you graduate?
No, oh no. Yeah.
What?
After I had done, I'm a cutter, so I did some self-inflicting. Um, and it was after I was accused of cheating in school. The only reason why I'm laughing is because I've never cheated on a test. Like, and I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Not that it's not that it's hard to do at Spring Creek though. They literally have people that have written indented into the fucking plastic.
Yeah, but I'm like, I got good grade. I got a fucking A for the first time in a while, and she's like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm like, what do you mean? I've actually studied for that. Like, what are you talking about? And I kind of got rude with her, and then I got sent to OP, you know, like what is it called? Worksheets during the day?
Yeah.
You know, worksheets, because I
Yeah.
flipped out on the teacher. Like, one thing I will not tolerate is somebody accusing me of being a cheater. Like, I never did it. Even if I could, I was just like, nah, no thanks. You know, I didn't knock it or anything like that, but I didn't care about school like that. It didn't bother me that if I didn't have a good grade. But it just like I dropped. I got up to like level 3, and then I had dropped because of that accusation. And then like my depression came back, and I started self-inflicting again, and that made me obviously.
Did, did they put you on suicide watch?
Yeah, I had a buddy, and I had like,
No
yeah,
shoelaces, none of that, right?
none
No
of that.
no lanyard, none of that.
I was like, maybe you should have checked my pockets with a plastic fucking knife, like fork from the goddamn cafeteria. Like, it's not hard. If you really want to do something, you're gonna find a way.
Well, I snuck one of those fucking lanyard fucking metal pieces, and then I fucking broke it off, and I was trying to kill myself, and I fucking cut when I was in the program. And then I cheat my medication, and I snorted it, and I found out it was that acne medication.
What?
Yeah, I thought it was like drugs, and I fucking found out it was acne medication, and
Wow.
I was kind of off that for like the first year I was there. I almost got sent to Jamaica.
I
They threatened me with Jamaica. They said that they weren't even going to tell my parents, and they just sent me there.
I went there. My
Well, let's
parents,
talk.
yeah.
How did that happen? Or first of all, what level did you get to at Spring Creek? I want to talk a little bit more about Spring
I
Creek first.
I got up to 3, and you know that like your family basically like says whether they support it or not.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had great sisters.
Yeah.
So I got up to level 3, and of course I was working for that level 3 all-star, but like I didn't want to leave my family. I was comfortable where I was. I had a pattern. I knew what to expect. I think this also goes along with the ADHD and anxiety that I've had forever.
Born with ADHD, and I have bipolar and super bad anxiety too, and PTSD.
Yeah, yeah. My mom actually dismissed a doctor telling her that back then obviously it was ADD. So he thought maybe the way I was coinciding with ADD, and she's like, nope, there's no way. There's no way. So, my mom didn't exactly like help out with any kind of like treatment or knowledge of like what was really going on with, up here. But there, like, I
Did,
had a I had a habit. I knew what to expect. I didn't have to worry about anybody like judging me because, like I said, my family was good girls. Like they were good kids.
did they put you on any prescription medication there? Because I
Actually,
thought
I
it.
did that. I get taken off my medication because I was on Wellbutrin XL and Lexapro, and
Well, Butrin's for the ADHD, right? Correct.
I don't remember, but like that's what it ended up. See, I don't have a lot of my memories from my teen years. Like it's kind of like fuzzy a little.
Right.
Um, but I remember basic like main events of like what led to what. Um, but I know at some point like I did get somebody to finally like listen or talk my parents into like trying this out. Let's try this out. Let's just try it out. That's all you got to say apparently. Um, so they got to my dad, I guess, and both my parents were like, "Yeah, well, I guess we'll try this out then." And next thing I know, I'm on Wellbutrin XL and Lexapro, and I kind of like turned into a zombie. Like
Yeah, that sounds like Wellbutrin. It's kind of yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it, and then when I found out, like in the program, you had like I asked questions because that's what I was taught is to ask questions, and I think if you ask questions the right way, maybe you won't get in trouble. So I'm like, I don't feel right. Maybe I should, get weaned off and maybe see some counseling. Like I knew what to say to these adults, I knew what to say. I was like, I just don't want to be on this medication. I feel like I can't feel anything. And somehow I managed to get slowly weaned off. And the next thing you know, I didn't take anything. And they're like, well, maybe you should. And I'm like, no, no, thanks. I just kept saying no. I don't want to. I don't know how. Maybe it was the way my parents are. I don't know. I said no and nothing was done about it. I didn't get in trouble for that stuff. I didn't get forced to.
Maybe it was because they didn't have the parent the parent aspect of it to hold over your head, to manipulate you with, like, they had the 90% of the kids there, you know?
Yeah,
Because
I mean, it
your
was
situation is very unique, you know what I mean? Because with most kids, you can just tell them, oh, your parents just say you're a fucking horrible kid or whatever the fuck they need to say to get you to get into gear. But
yeah.
with you,
I
that's
heard
the
it.
only thing. Because I'm trying to find out, you know, trying to, in my head, I'm like, why would they go easier on you? And maybe it's because they just didn't have as much manipulation with you.
I feel like I got more pity because like I had nothing, no leverage. Like you said, there was no leverage on me. I wasn't
Exactly.
in, getting in trouble with the law. Not that like I didn't do shit, but I was so sheltered and closed off from everything else because of my mom that I didn't have chances or opportunities or any friends really. I had nothing. I was just like in my room reading books, getting lost in my stories and drawing. I had my art and my reading in my room. Like that was my life and my dog. But
Very interesting. Very interesting. Why?
because also they knew that I wasn't going to cause any problems. Like I was the easy child, so to speak. Like I just ate, slept, and if I didn't feel like doing something, I'm like, no, no.
But overall, you followed the rules. But the stuff that you didn't want to do, you didn't do.
Yeah,
So you
pretty much.
weren't like you weren't like a problem kid like I was or anything like that.
See, but I don't see it like that though. That's why I try to get involved with this is a lot of people want to sit there and hurry up and call the child a problem or a problem or causing problems. Children reflect the home. It's always been my viewpoint, my perspective of things. Like kids who are considered like bad kids, like are they really, or are they just trying to get some kind of like help or attention or someone to just to give a shit? I mean, you pick. There's multiple things I've heard. Like people don't act up, and especially children do not act up for no fucking reason. If there's a psychological problem, it is your job as a parent to do something about it, to help them, give them something that like works for them, not drugs, not beating them. Like some of the stories that I've heard from my fellow sisters and brothers, because seminars, you know, you're around both. Um, it crushed me.
Yeah.
It crushed me to hear. Sometimes it made me grateful for my mom. You know, like in comparison, I was like, well, shit, I kind of feel out of place. I did feel a little out of place. Um, but at the same time, you are where you are for a reason. Like I felt like I was there for a whole different reason than just because I couldn't stand my mom.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right. So you got to level 3.
But
And do you remember the Trail of Lights ceremony?
I do. I
Okay. Okay.
thought it was weird. I thought it was weird.
I graduated, so I was actually one of the last people to graduate before it got shut down.
How did that go? To be
To graduate, I mean,
to like
it
that
was it was up there as one of the high points in my life, probably.
cool. It
Just
was
just the crowd surfing, not the entire day leading up to it, because the entire day leading up to it is just some fucking bullshit.
ugh. What did you
They literally have they have your parents there's this one part where they literally have your parents write you a letter, both your mom and your dad, as if you died. Like saying, I wish you could have still been around, like you were doing so good, da 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 da, like, and then you have to read it out loud
oh my
to
god.
the person you're doing trail with. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And then but so I could have went without that, but besides
No,
that, yeah.
but I could have went with that. What the
Yeah,
that's
it's kind of a mind fuck.
that's a huge mind fuck. Like, I've seen the scare straight thing where they have you lay down and pretend that you passed away. Like, I think I've seen a video and one of the programs did that.
Yeah.
Why would you want, you're not even supposed to be thinking about that shit until you're like 60s, 70s, 80s, like worried about, that's horrible.
They said that it was just because we had to learn how to deal with death, because people are going to come in our life and go, and we need to learn how to deal with death. But I don't understand how the fuck that.
That makes
That.
that doesn't make sense. I would have called bullshit. I
Yeah.
would have I graduated. Like, nah, thanks. I'll just go back over here.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay, so I ended up dropping, right? And we had unfortunately dealt with a loss within our family, and that really took a toll on our family.
Was it Carly?
Yeah. We actually begged for Carly to be put in our family. Like, we were like, we want her. Like, put her in our family. Like, we will talk to her. We will be there for her. She wasn't getting along with some of the girls in the original family she was in, which not everybody's gonna get along. Get it? Okay. Put her with us. We like her. We get along with her. The whole family was excited for her to come through. And I'm telling you, it's like nobody really understands how serious depression affects a person. No matter how much you think that they're like happy or doing better, um, you really don't know if they're doing better. As somebody who's easily able to put on a smile and pretend everything's okay in the moment because you don't want anybody else to worry. She did that very well. She did that very well. I remember it was last couple of nights with her. She was real goofy, extra goofy. um, and I remember leaving that cabin. And I mean, obviously nobody at the time, but like someone told me something wasn't right. And I was like, are you sure? Like, we shouldn't double check, like, where she's at. Like, you're supposed to know exactly where she at. And I kept telling the family mom, you're supposed to know where she's at yourself. You have to double check yourself. And she didn't. She believed everybody else saying, oh, she went with our family mom. She never went with our family mom. She was in that bathroom hiding. And I went to worksheets that day for 2 hours to make up whatever I had to make up. And then I came back and I went to the classroom, and our family mom had gone back to the cabin. I knew something wasn't right. And we just hear our family mom just like freaking out, like, I need emergency. I have an emergency. Integrity cabin, I have an emergency. And we're all looking at each other because we can hear it. She had the radio up real, real loud. So we heard everything for a few minutes, and the teacher turned it down, and we're like, dude, don't turn that down. Like, that's our family. That's one of us. Like, we want to know what's going on. What the hell? And, we're kind of arguing with her, but of course she gets all snappy and just like, if you don't stop. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could have stormed out of that classroom. That woman was not going to overpower all of us. We could have easily just stormed out of that classroom, but we chose not to. I don't know. I kind of started asking, like, where's Carly? Where's Carly at? Like, somebody's got to know where Carly's at. There was 2 girls that we weren't sure, were 100% sure where they were. Like, how do you not know? Like, how can you not find out? Not with disability. You know what I mean? Why didn't anybody call our family representative that she supposedly was with? Nobody did that. You skip a step. Shit like this happens.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not gonna lie. I was pissed. I was pissed at our family mom. She was younger, but I hold a little bit of resentment with her because she could have taken her down. Carly was hanging by her sweater. And if she had taken her down and laid her down, she most likely would have had more of a chance. And I don't know, she just didn't do anything. She didn't even try to help. She didn't try to hold her up. She just did nothing. She did absolutely nothing. And I think that's what bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's messed up. Well, they might have a darker thing, they might have also just been negligent on purpose. They might have also just not given a fuck at all.
That's true. I mean,
I hate to think like that, but there are people, I know for a fact that there were staff there working there that were fucked up like that.
had every chance to have someone help you look for her, verify where she was, or how about go check that bathroom again?
Yeah.
You got questions. If we're questioning where somebody's in, look for her. We should not be continuing anything until we find our sister.
Yeah.
But she had a problem. She had a problem. She needed somebody, and nobody was. And here's the thing: she also told somebody that she was going to do it. She told a fellow sister who wasn't. She was an upper level that dropped. So, she wasn't. Usually, she was newer to the family too, and she like beat herself up for like the longest time about, I should have said something. She told me something. I should have said something, and I'm like, yeah, you should have. You should have said something. We got each other's backs here. Like, we can't obviously rely on them. Like,
Yeah.
this is why we call each other sisters. Like, even if it wasn't to an adult, you could have told another sister who could have told another sister who could have told another sister, and all 20 of us, 19 other sisters would have known that one of our sisters needed us.
Yeah.
And I had a family that would have done it. Like, that's like I said, that's what kept me sane, is I had some good sisters in my family. I did.
That's
That
good.
took a toll, and then they told us we couldn't talk about it. Really? You want to tell me that we're not allowed to talk about it? Because her parents said that they didn't want us to talk. Who are they? Who are they to tell us we can't talk about what we're grieving? That was our sister.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't understand why you're restricting us from healing. You're preventing us from healing. And that's I think that was my last straw. Like, I stopped giving a shit. I really stopped giving a shit after that.
So what
I didn't care about the rules.
is that why you got
Yeah, because I started going downhill myself. And because I was no longer, my parents said this, because I was no longer showing progress, that they felt that the only decision that they needed to make was to send me elsewhere.
Okay, so it was probably just a combination of you not wanting to leave the family, but also because you started fucking up after the Carly thing,
I
right?
didn't, because I started saying I didn't want to do anything. I was no longer interested in progressing, which, yeah, you're damn right. I was no longer interested. You failed us. You were failing us mentally and emotionally. And that to me is enough. Like, I didn't know about a lot of the abuse. I heard of, after that, I've heard of, like the restraining going too far. I didn't know how far it was. We weren't told a lot. They were pretty good at keeping things on the DL.
Yeah.
So I was more focused on my family there, you know, what we were going through, and losing Carly was insane. It was like one of my first losses of somebody that I actually really cared about, and it took a fucking toll on me, and I was just getting angry. I was at that point, I was just angry. Like, it wasn't just upset no more. It wasn't like I was just flat out angry that they just keep failing these kids, and I keep seeing how many kids are getting more put on suicide watch or whatever they called it, and nothing was really done about it. You can put a fucking little wristband on me, but what else are you really doing other than embarrassing me and putting me on blast? Now everybody knows that I have a fucking issue. Everybody. People who don't even know me. They just see that wristband and they're like, she's probably a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I am a little crazy. I wasn't afraid to admit that.
So what happened when you got sent to Jamaica? Did they tell you that you were gonna go there, or how did they do it?
I think that was probably the second hardest day there. You know, ours, like I said, my sisters were really close with, like, we were close and we stood up for each other, you know. They just called me from my family. I didn't even get to say goodbye. And of course, they let Cliff say bye to me because him and I were kind of close. Cliff,
Cl- what was he, the one with the red hair? Is that the Cliff you're talking about?
the ginger man, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, he actually, I've been in touch with him on and off throughout the years, but he was the one who personally helped me kind of like build a backbone. You know, like instead of, you know, me just whining about stuff, there was times that he's like, okay, are you done whining? Like, let's really talk about what's really going on. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. He didn't agree with a lot of things that did happen there. He actually left there after certain things were going on, but I don't know if how involved he was. And the more I found out, the more I started questioning him even. I don't want to knock on anybody, but it is what it is. Like, if you knew what they were doing and you did nothing about it, you are part of the problem. You're involved. That's how I see it. But they let me say goodbye to him. They just pulled me away from I was on the blindfold challenge, dude. You ever done that? You ever see people on that blindfold challenge?
Was it like Black Cloud? People can't talk to you?
No, it was literally a fucking blindfold.
Yeah, they did that to me when I went on trail. You had to have a blindfold on all day, but why did they do it for you?
Because I had trust issues.
Okay. Okay, so
Like,
it was a challenge.
yeah, like, no shit, I have trust issues. Like, what do you think I'm here for? Like,
Did they have people lead you around the facility?
they partnered up with probably the one person that I didn't trust the most in my family because she was like brand new in our family, like newer. Um, I'm sorry, but I can't have somebody fucking feed me. No, I can't do it. You're not gonna have somebody feed me like I'm an infant. Like, I was getting irritated. I was getting very irritated, and they were seeing the grouchy side of me, that my attitude, the 16-year-old attitude came out for sure. Um, I was like, I'm not okay with somebody feeding me. Like, cool, she can walk me from point A to point B and lead me there, but like, come on. Feeding me? I'm not incapable. That's not trust. That's just embarrassing to have like a fellow student or fellow sister fucking feed me like I'm a child, like I'm an infant. I couldn't do it. Like, I stopped. Like, I was like, no, you're not gonna feed me. We're not gonna do this. Like, I will go without, and you can go ahead and mark that off as whatever. Didn't you we got in trouble if we didn't eat. And I don't remember what it was called, but
it could be it could be a self-inflict if they wanted it to be. It could
like
be a Cat 5. They could give you Cat 5 for it if they really wanted to. They just be like, you're refusing to eat, it's a self-infliction.
Yeah, they would always find some reason, fucking, oh, you're doing this, so you
Or
get.
it could be insubordination. It could be category 4 insubordination as well, not following directions, or flat out refusing.
There was like different categories. That really boggled me, man. Like the point system, like really, it was like I knew that was bullshit, but like I said, like I had to make the most of it because like I said anywhere, I said anywhere, and I ended up there. And then when I just started to refuse to do the things that my parents wanted me to do, they wanted me to graduate, and I told them no. You start saying no, and that's when you start seeing the true colors of people. And
Did you graduate the program or graduate high school?
The program, because high school I knew I could have easily gotten my GED somehow. You know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't give two shits about school. My parents knew that.
Did your parents go to any of the seminars?
So yeah, of course they did. Of course they did. They had to show that they were good parents. They were parents. What are you talking about? Of course they went. They had to make an impression. They were paying for it.
Yeah. Okay.
So they also rubbed it in my face that they graduated their seminars. They did their part. And I'm like, did you know? Did you? Did you really do your part? Because I don't feel like anything has helped the relationship between you and I. Like this is all self-work. It's a self-help seminar. Like that's literally what they're called. Self-help seminars. You're helping yourself, not the situation.
Yeah.
Which is the problem.
Exactly. So you were acting out and shit, and then you were refusing, and then did they just tell you you're going to Jamaica, or?
Oh no, they pulled me away from my family, pulled me into Staff Central, sat me down. I was in Cliff's office, sat me down, and he's like, you can take your blindfold off. I'm like, okay. So I took my blindfold off and I looked at him and he was a little teary-eyed. Like I said, him and I had like, kind of a cool bond. I actually babysat his youngest when he would bring her in and late nights or whatever. Of course, some people.
You're not the only person I've heard say that. That's kind of a thing I've heard a few times.
Yeah. Which I love kids, so I didn't care. And they were good kids. They were well behaved, so I mean, they were good. But he had tears in his eyes, and I'm like, I thought somebody died, to be honest. I thought maybe like somebody from my home died or something. And he was like, I got some bad news. And I'm like, okay, can we spill it? And he's like, well, your parents have decided to send you to Jamaica, to Tranquility Bay. And I'm like, oh, well, what do they call family rep? The family representative had her, like they sent her a letter for me to get instead of giving it to me right away. They kind of pulled me away and then like told me what was going on. And then like literally had two escorts at the door like the whole time, just in case I ran. I'm not a runner. Unless a bear is chasing me, I'm probably not going to run. It's just too much. So they just basically like took me to the airport, and crazy thing, dude, and this killed me. I saw my family walking back to the cabin as I was being driven away. So I actually got like a last peek at my family, and they actually seen me like being driven away. So it was kind of like I got my last glance, but I cried. I cried leaving my sisters. I for sure did. Got put on a plane, showed up to Jamaica, riding in this weird looking little van, being driven to a gated facility. I don't know if you've seen pictures of this place. It's shut down now, but that looks like a jail, like flat out. Like I just felt like I was going to some kind of prison, and it just had this whole fucking prison vibe to it. And I like, as an empath, I'm sure you understand when I say this, like it's like a wall of just overwhelming emotions, like not happy, sad, like just so much negative energy as soon as you get close to this place. It was a huge difference for me.
Do you remember someone by the name of Mama Precious?
Mama Precious. I think Precious sounds familiar.
She was like huge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. With Bailey, Precious Bailey.
They used to call her Mama Precious. I didn't
Um,
go there, but I've had a few people on the podcast talk about Mama Precious. So I believe that was her name.
I
Or maybe
remember.
she was at High Impact. Maybe that was High Impact, but um, yeah,
There.
she was one of the mamas.
I had Mama Williams, um, and Miss Daly. Miss Daly, I still talk to her, um, and I talk to Miss Williams too. I think she has a different last name now, but that was just like I said, I just felt like I was like you knew you were in a place that just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. It was.
Did you know that? Did you know that right away, or did it take you a few days?
I felt it right away. Like I just, as soon as I got there, I could tell like it was not. It's definitely not Spring Creek. That's how I felt. Like just this is not no. I mean, the only good thing I can say about being there was the scenery, and I've gone to Jamaica before, like when I was like in sixth grade or something like that. So I already had the little vibe of Jamaica, but it's like the only good thing is there was a couple of good people and the view. And like you watching the sun go down on the water, right on the beach. It was like on a little, like it was literally like 80% of it was surrounded by water. So it was actually kind of funny to watch someone try to run and they go right for the water because Jamaicans will not go. Like if there was a runner, they went straight for that water. And
Did you see any runners?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of those girls there, they made it interesting. Some of them weren't like aggressive about it. They were just bored or they were just doing shit just to annoy the staff. Um, can't really blame them, man. Like, what are you supposed to do at that point when you're put in a place that they call the last resort? Like, I mean, I just played my part, dude. I played my part there too. I knew a lot of these girls just, need somebody to back them up. They're like I said, I didn't witness personally anything. We were woken up in the middle of the night by like girls screaming in pain. I woke up like, what the fuck is going on? And I yelled at one of the girls, like, because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I literally got woken up and I'm just seeing this girl, like, yelling at the staff and they're all yelling at her. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then she got mad at me because I asked her what the hell she was doing, which I totally meant innocent by that. I had no idea what was going on. And then she, like, yelling at me, told me what was going on. And I was just like, oh, oh, yeah, okay. Now I'm with ya. Like I just needed somebody to kind of like fill me in.
Yeah.
But hey, Sorry, I got both of my kids. My oldest is 13 and my youngest is 3. So
Okay.
I had to dip out a couple times here and there. But Jamaica, like I said, Jamaica was a whole different experience, and I just can't believe how they got away with so much. You know, like I heard about like the inappropriate relationship. I've heard about the abuse. I guess I never seen personally the outcome of some of these girls, but other girls in my family would come back from the OP room and be like, you know, like this fucking happened, like this is what was going on, and they would make it to where they try to muffle their mouths, you know, like obviously so they're not so loud. I mean, girls would have like bruises on their backs from being kneeled on, their arms twisted, like they would have like markings on their wrist and stuff like that from being restrained. It's like, to me, it didn't make sense because what are you doing? Like, what are you doing putting your hands on underage people? Like, these kids are even 18 and they're just being restrained because they're acting wild or they got mouthy. It's like, what? The things that you say to these kids are terrible. Like, some of them are racist too. I'm not gonna lie, some of them are racist because
I was
we're
going to ask you that. Do you feel like they hated Americans there?
I feel some of them did, and I feel some of them were also kind of taught to.
Like they thought that Americans were spoiled or something? Because I've heard that too.
Yep.
Like we're just fucking, yeah.
There
Okay.
were some of them that I'm just like, why
Not
would
to
you?
say not to say all Jamaicans at all are fucking like that. I'm just saying the people in this, I've heard the people in this place, there were,
Everywhere. Racism exists everywhere.
yeah,
Just exists everywhere.
yeah.
They were taught to think like that, you know, and
It might have even been part of the job, fucking like training.
yeah, like why would you even want to work there if that's how you felt?
Yeah.
But we did have a couple that were, I don't know about the male staffs because I didn't
What
really meet
what
any of
made,
them. There was
what
a
made
couple
you
of moms that were amazing. Like they were understanding. So
what made you feel like what would they do that made you feel like they hated like the ones that you saw that you felt like they hated Americans, or like what would they do? Like just be extra aggressive, or like
they would, they get sassy, they have a certain dialogue to how they talk, right? They have
yeah.
certain accents. So they even have a whole different language, really. So sometimes when they would talk, you just you wouldn't understand them fully if you're not around that accent. You might not catch on to what they're saying. You'd have to be there for a while to like kind of like get fluent with what you're hearing. But they would like call us pitneys, for like, which is children. um they would suck their teeth at you, like do the little, I don't even know how to do it. They would just like make this noise with their lips, like they're sucking stuff out of their teeth, like cha. They would make certain comments and their whole demeanor just looking at you like they were disgust with you, you know. I can't like quote anything, but
Yeah.
you knew when they were
Body
being
language.
sexist, or they would intentionally like not like a certain teen, and then they would just be rude to them, like just flat out fucking rude. It's like, okay, if you don't like them, sure, but you're going out of your way to be a douche to this
Yeah.
person. and, and I've seen it, and when you're thrown in a whole different country, it can be intimidating. It can be intimidating because you can't just leave. You don't fucking know shit. You don't know anything about that area. And it's not that there isn't white people around there, but there's fewer from where we were located. If you see a teenager alone, in a certain uniform. They knew where we were from. They knew it. We would easily be caught and easily brought back. So a lot of the times I feel like the running was just a game, just because, you know, what else are you gonna do? You're getting tortured depending on what you do and what level of torture is the level of torture that you get. Like I said, I was a kid who knew to be seen and not heard. You know, I'm not that big of a person. I didn't feel like I had a lot of power behind myself. And so sometimes I just observed. I just paid attention. I watched what I say. You know, I would stay away from certain staff members that I knew were jackasses, you know. So, you know, I avoided. I was really good at avoiding shit. And that's what I did to survive, is just avoid. And that was my way of getting through that. I was there for like 10 months total.
Okay.
So
And what made you, like, did you graduate from there, or like what happened? How did you come home?
just was along for the ride in a sense. I just waited until I was 18. Like I said, I was there for 10 months. So I waited until I think it was about 14 days after I turned 18 that I was actually like able to take my exit plan.
What was the exit plan?
Uh, oh, dude, this is where it gets even better. So my parents obviously listened to whatever they were told or suggested, and basically, like, if you told them like to send me off with like nothing in my pocket, they probably would have done it. Um, but they basically told me that I would get a ticket back to the States. Um, I would have whatever clothes that I had. Um, they would give me at least $20. Um, and they would look for, like, I actually had a say in what state I would want it to be. If I wanted to just fly back to Florida and be left there, or if I wanted to be closer to my family. I did say that I wanted to be closer, you know, to my family. If you could put me somewhere close to my family, that would be great. You know, I can travel. I'll make the most of it. I'll fucking walk for a week if I have to, you know. Um, so they basically got me a ticket. They told me they were looking for a place that had low crime rates to put me. And I was like, okay, that seems legit, right? You know, you want to put me somewhere that's hopeful, you know, like I might have a chance. Oh, dude, they fucking flew me out to Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Not only Philadelphia, but like the ghetto of Philadelphia. Um, they met up with me, picked me up from the airport, fed me. Very nice of them to give me a nice meal before having me call the homeless shelter and asking if they had a spare bed. Dude, I'm telling you, that was probably the second most embarrassing thing. um, the guy on the phone was really confused. He's like, "Are you safe? Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" Like, he was confused. Like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at a IHOP right now with my parents, and I need a place to go. And he was like, "Well, yeah, we got a bed open. You know, I got directions, even though my dad had the directions written down in his pocket." Basically, he was trying to teach me how to be responsible and calling for help or getting information. And I'm like, I know how to ask questions. It's not rocket science, guy. Um, they drove me to the shelter. Uh, I got out. This older lady who was so sweet and very kind and looked very concerned um, and confused. I got out. My dad got my suitcase out from like the uniforms that I had from the fucking program. set it on the side, and like I looked at the lady and I went to go pick up my bag, and she's like, "No, that's okay, I'll grab it." And she grabbed my bag for me and held the door open. And I turn around and I look back at my parents and I see my mom crying, and I'm like, "Why are you crying? Like, why are you crying? Like, please entertain me with why are you crying?" I was like, "Remember, this is a choice. You choose to not give me a second chance at home. You choose to put me here. This is the option you gave me. So why are you crying?" She's like, "You don't know how hard this is." Do I? I don't have a clue how hard this is. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." I was like, "Well, you guys have a safe trip home, and I might talk to you later." And I walked inside. Like, I did not hug them, I did not touch them, and I did not tell them that I loved them, because this is not love. It's not. This is not love. Like, I don't deserve this. And me being as prideful as I am, I'm like, you know what? This is what I got. And this is what I'm gonna deal with it. I'm gonna make the most of it. I have to. I'm literally walking inside of a homeless shelter at 18. So I was lucky with the people that I met, but it was been survival ever since. And I can say that for the first time in my life, I don't have to like survive. Like, I can just finally breathe a little, you know. So for a long time, it was just bouncing around, like trying to survive in a city that I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Complete different. Uh, I was a country girl and I got dropped off in the city, so it was huge. It was a huge change, and you know, I had some good people and met some bad people. Um, I didn't get into drugs. I can say that the stories that I heard from my fellow brothers and sisters kind of scared me from that. I'm trying it. I'm a little bit of a pansy when it comes to trying things that I'm not aware of what they're going to do to me. Um, so I never put myself around that stuff. I was very, like I said, I was a loner. I was a loner. I kept to myself. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have really a lot of influence, whether it was good or bad, like I didn't have really anybody for a long time. I just met cool people and moved on with my life and kept going, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much. I don't talk to my parents really.
I was gonna ask if you talked to them since then.
I've tried. I've tried to get past some things and do better. It's the same thing, dude. And I got to the point when my son was born. They made every excuse to not come and see him. They didn't come see their grandchildren. They made no efforts to like make amends of the past. I said, you know what? I'm good. Like, I've gone this long without you. I'm okay. I got other people that have taught me better and loved me better than what they ever have my whole life. So, that's why I try to do my best to stand up for other kids. Like, I've I've almost thrown hands to someone for abusing their child the way I witnessed, and scared her straight a little bit. I stand up for kids and teens. I've had family send me their kids to be like, "Help me." Like, what do I do? And I'm like, whatever you do, don't send them away. Just sit down, talk to them, talk to your kids. That's what a lot of people need. Humans, we have feelings. Talk, you know, reaching out. Like, this is amazing. Like, dude, I think this is amazing that you have pulled this together and just getting people's stories out. Like, it's really, really amazing. I'm pretty proud of you, man. Like, I know we don't know each other very well, but I'm proud of you, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Uh, let's see. What was the hardest part about being in the boarding school? I guess we go school to school. What was the hardest part about being at Spring Creek for you? Like you got to nail it down to one thing that was the hardest.
Um, I felt I felt like a lot of times I just felt like I was just there. I think the hardest thing was seeing, like, realizing how silenced I was. You know, like I really just, no matter how many times I kept trying to do something for myself, it's just like I kept getting shoved back down or silenced again, or like whatever good I had was taken, you know, like I just feel like it was emotionally disconnecting. Um, I think I took on a form of meditation in a sense, like I just kind of like kept to myself and talked myself through, like self-talk, through a lot of the things. I think the hardest part was losing uh, losing someone close. I can definitely say that that took a toll on me for sure.
You mean like when people went home, or like?
No, I gotta say, like Carly was a huge impact on me. Um, that took a toll on me, on not just losing her, but like that was my eye opener too. Like I said, like seeing how they treated us after losing her, and how they treated the situation. It's like as I got older and every year you get reminded of like how much people really don't care. So I think reality, just getting a sense of reality of what was really going on was the hard part. Is it breaks you.
Yeah. And would you say the hardest part would be the same for Tranquility Bay, or do you think you'd have something? The hardest part would be different for Tranquility Bay.
Uh, I didn't really experience loss at TB. TB was more like that was more like the boot camp type of feel. Like you gotta suck it up. Basically, I learned how to suck it up and just deal with it. Um, might not have been the greatest thing to do, but when you're trying to survive in a country that you have no fucking knowledge of,
Yeah.
you kind of, it's a boot camp. It's a camp. You know, it's a prison. And I got my taste of what a prison was at a young age. And for those who weren't getting help and those who were having way more issues, I can imagine like how they felt. And I think that's what was hard on me, is knowing I was feeling what was going on, and I was had no control. I had no power. You know, I felt more powerless at that time.
I completely understand. If you could go back in a time machine and not go through these boarding schools, would you do it, and why?
Oh man, see, I knew you were gonna ask something like that. That's tough. Um, I mean, if I could really technically go back in time, wouldn't even I would stop from these places even being open up. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, because in a sense I want to say I wouldn't want to, but at the same time I kind of see the purpose that I served there. You know, I see what role it played in my life, and it wasn't a great experience, but for me it wasn't as bad as some of these other things that I just I don't know, I kind of feel a little guilt not knowing that this was going on, like at the same places I was, you know. I know after like coming to realization of like what was going on, like I said, I kind of feel guilty for being okay with going through with what I did. Um, I am okay with it because it's what I wanted. Like I wanted just to be away from the very person and people that that were supposed to love me. I mean, if they don't, I got nothing to lose with everybody else, right? I got really nothing to lose. I already lost the biggest part of my childhood, and that's loving parents. So to me, I'm okay with it only because like meeting all of those other teens, what kept me from losing my shit. I think with the knowledge that I have of all the different people's experiences. I mean, I met a girl who was a skinhead. Like, never in my life have I thought I would ever meet somebody, because you only heard about it from where I was from. You only heard about stuff like that. You only heard about gangs. You only heard about cults. You only heard about drug abuse. You know, you never actually saw it. I did, and I heard about it, and I saw it, and it taught me a lot. So I am appreciative of the experience and the people that crossed my path with an unfortunate, you know, reason. I mean, we were all stuck in a shitty place, but going through a different storm, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can't. I wouldn't want to, like. If I could go back in time, I probably would have ran away better and never would have even known that these places existed. But I'm actually appreciative of being a part of something that needs to be heard, that needs to be seen for what it is. You know, like I said, I can't say that I was physically abused or emotionally abused. I was manipulated to thinking that things were okay. So, you know, my story is a little different, but I feel like I played a good part for where I was needed.
Yeah. Um, is it your opinion that these places should or even could be regulated? Like, or do you think that they should just be shut down?
I think at this point, with what I have learned, um, there's not one place that's doing right by these kids.
Yeah.
There's not one place.
Yeah.
So yeah, they gotta go. They gotta go. There, we need to, okay, so we need to wipe the slate clean. We need to get rid of all these places. And instead of sending your fucking kids away, how about we have a place in each community to go for parents and their children to talk, to do something different? Because this isn't working. People are going to abuse things, but we need people who understand. But it's like not people who are, oh, just because you got a fucking bachelor's degree doesn't mean you're qualified. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like people whose experience actually go through things are the ones that we need to help, you know, do better. And we need to end all of this. We shouldn't be finding out that, you know, these so-called missing teens were actually not missing. That's
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. 100%. The way these places are run are 100% unacceptable. There's not one place that's doing right. So yeah, they all got to go. They got to go.
Okay. And is there anything else you want to share about your story, or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid there? I know we kind of went over that already, but
Yeah, I actually ran into a mom who wanted to send her teen son to, she's like, somewhere. I want to send him somewhere, like maybe to a program. I was like, no, please. I was like, please don't. I was like, as a person who's not been believed, who nobody listened to, and I seen other kids not be listened. I was like, you got to do something different. And I told her the truth. I was like, look at your home. Look at what you're doing. Like, what are you doing to contribute to your son being the way he is? I was like, you have to understand your son before you can sit there and shame him for acting a certain way. I was honest with her, and I will be honest with any parent. Start talking to your kids. Sit them down and be like, you know what? No judgment. What's going on? What are you feeling? What am I doing wrong? As a parent, what can I do better? And actually fucking mean it. Like, actually mean it. You know what I mean? Like, I apologize to my kids. You know, when I am wrong, when I yell or I do something or say something that maybe was mean or I shouldn't have done that, you know, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I'm sorry. You know, I'm having a bad day. That's on me, not them. You know, we got to do better with our kids and stop thinking that somebody else is going to solve that problem. No, you as the parent are responsible for solving those problems because you are the one who taught them. You're the one who's teaching them how to be a certain way. And I do feel like it's not always all on the parents. You know, like sometimes you got those single parent homes that you don't feel like you have a lot of time. Make time. Make time for your kids because it makes a huge difference. It really does. Don't fucking send your kids away. Don't have somebody try to scare them straight. You're just going to want them to push even more. And that's a fact. There's not one person that was considered a rebel kid who has said that it worked for me. No, it didn't. It just made them want to rebel even more because you're shaming your child for feeling the way they feel. Yeah. Stop shaming your kid for feeling feelings. Listen to them, understand them, and take accountability yourself. You want your kids to be accountable? Be accountable. You want your kids to be honest with you? Be honest with your kids. Age appropriate, obviously. You know, with their mentality, with the way they are. You figure your kids out. Show you give a shit. Not pretend you do. And we know that we got some of those parents are like, oh, I don't know. There's no way that there's no reason why my kid should act like this. Your kid's probably hiding something that is a secret that maybe they don't know how to talk about, you know, and that can destroy a child. Keeping secrets inside and stuff bottled inside, we all know what it does.
Yeah.
But for a child,
it manifests itself in other ways.
Yeah. And everything is tied to not being heard. Like even as adults, even at like jobs, like if you think about it, everything is because we don't feel heard. We don't feel that love anymore. This toxic traditions of parenting's got to stop.
Yeah.
It's not an answer to send your kid away. There's never gonna work. It's never gonna work.
Yeah, there's not one fix all.
No. Because I have sisters that I've lost after the program. Started a family. It seemed like they were doing okay. Obviously, you don't know everything. I didn't know everything was going on, but I lost a sister through overdose. Lost a sister through a very abusive relationship that she ended up getting stabbed to death. I got a brother that I knew that he shot himself, and it was horrible. I don't even know if anybody even spoke up on his passing. But yeah, it's just people don't understand that, like, obviously keeping things bottled inside isn't doing anybody any good. Our whole society is screwed because of it.
Yeah, repressing shit isn't healthy.
It's not at all. And you know, not every teen is going to have that parent will listen to them or even themselves know how to listen. But if you're a parent that doesn't know what to do, seek counseling. Seek counseling. Seek a therapist. You know, for people that you can find that care and want to help. But sending your child separate from their home and their whole life that they know is you're literally just going to destroy them. It's just going to destroy them.
For sure, for sure. Is there anything else?
No, that's all I got. I really appreciate the time. Like, I never thought I'd be able to share my story so broadly, but I've told people my story before, you know, counselors and friends and stuff, and you know, they get the, oh wow, oh my gosh, and it's like I just want to talk to somebody who's not gonna like, who gets it and just like hears me, you know, not shocking, but then it also makes you realize that nobody knew this was really going on, and we have how many facilities across this country? Thousands? Yeah. What? Yeah. How? How is this not being talked about? Before Breaking Code Silence. Before Breaking. I know Breaking Code Silence has been going on for quite some time. But it just amazes me at the level of ignorance. And that's exactly what it is. It's the level of ignorance of like what's really going on.
Yep. It's messed up.
Like I said, I'm glad to be a part of it now. I try to be supportive of others as much as I can. I still go through PTSD. I've had other things happen after the program that just made it worse. But I got a hold of the whole Breaking Code Silence probably, like I said, like about 5 years ago now. And it's helped to see that like there's other people, and even just not just regular everyday stuff, like just having that support system, like we automatically connected together. And you know, there's some that don't get along with, you know, I've had some issues, I've seen some problems, but majority of the fellow sisters and brothers, I mean, amazing. Just the support is phenomenal. And it's just really, really awesome to be a part of it. It really is.
Yeah. I hope we can become all just united and just not fight at all. We just need to stop fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to help each other.
Yeah. And understanding. It's that's the key. Like like I said, I'm not very broad. Like I didn't expect for you to reach out and like want to hear my story, because my story is kind of like before and after the program, you know, like it's different. It's definitely unique from what I've heard. I mean, I don't know anybody else who had a similar experience of like just sitting in the back corner and just kind of like playing my part, you know, I'm just here.
Yeah.
So like I said, just everybody's been so supportive when I first spoke on it, saying my story and, you know, saying it was different and I didn't feel like mine was important. And it's just like, man, they really were just like, it is important. Yes, you need to talk about it. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
For sure. Well, we can, if you want, we can do a part 2 sometime too. If for nothing else, we can just catch up or something.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. And thank you so much. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. And I will catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good night.
Hi.